Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Hapate Namaha Kujantam Rama Rameti Maduram Maduraksharam Aruhya Kavitam Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmiki Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharinaha Shrinvan Rama Kathan Adham Konayam Paramam Gatim Sarva Ishta Nivarakam Shapakaram Pingla Shamapakam Sita Anveshna Tatparam Kavivaram Kodin the Surya Prabham Lanka Deepa Payankaram Sagarabam Sugriva Sammanidam देवेन्द्रादि समस्त देवनितं कागस्तूतं भजे ज्ञातः श्रीरामदूतः पवनतनुभवः पिङ्गलाः शिखावान् सीताशोकापहारी दशमुखविजयी लक्ष्मणप्राणनाथ आनेदां बेजजाद्रेः लवणज्जलनिदेः लङ्घने दीशद्दोर्योः वीरः श्रीमान् हनुमान् मम मनसि वसन् कार्यसिद्धिं तनोतु अजाढ्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च श्री हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्. Welcome to one and all to the day 5, in fact day 6, but part 5 of Bala Kanda that we have been seeing for the last 5 days. In fact, many of us has joined as new. I had extended this invite to my friends, my school friends, so some of them have joined today. So I'm very grateful that they have taken their time out, and I'm also very grateful for others who at this time of lockdown we have so many things to do, but at the same point of time they are more interested in hearing something about the Lord and the Lord's pastimes. So, for those who are joining us new, we welcome you with both arms and we hope that you enjoy these sessions. And at the same time, if you have questions, comments, we are an open community where we have ability to ask questions, comments, because the Vedic science is all about asking questions and getting answers. It's not about blind faith. So, at the end, we will also have questions to ask and clarify our doubts. So that way, this becomes an entirely an open session. It's not a monologue from one person to another. So we welcome you again for this class on Balakanda. For the last 6 days, we have been seeing that how Valmiki had started writing this wonderful epic called as Ramayana, and how many trials and tribulations that he had to go through to complete this exercise. He got the blessings from Narada. He got the answers that Konasmin Sampradam Loke Kunuvan Kasha Veeravan Dharmagnyascha Kritagnyascha Satyavakyo Dridhavrataha. Like that, he asked about the 16 qualities who is in the Sampradam Loke, in the present world, who is having these qualities. These qualities were exhibited by none other than Lord Ramchandra was the answer. Then Brahma came and explained to him the first shloka that he said, Manishada Pratishtam Tamagamaha Shashwati Samha Yat Kraunjamidana Devam Mamadam Kavamohitam. That is not actually a curse, but in fact it is the perfect meter of 32 syllables which forms the Anushtup Chandaha, and it forms a beautiful epic and the start of the poem called as Ramayana. And then we also saw yesterday that how Valmiki finished due to that blessings the wonderful epic of 24,000 verses, which forms the one of the most primordial itihasas, and in fact even supersedes the itihasa of Mahabharata, which is Sapada Lakshak Grantham, which is 1,25,000 verses by Veda Vyasa. And the reason for surpassing this is because Ved Vyas wanted to write about Krishna, but he ended up writing about so many different characters in itself. Whereas Ramayana is very, very focused on Sita Charitam and Ramayanam, which are the two names for Ramayana. It is also called as Sita Charitam. These names are not given by me, but these names are very much given by Valmiki himself. After finishing this magnum opus work of 24,000 verses, he was thinking, whom should I give this wonderful epic? At that same time, we saw that how Lava and Kusha were the two wonderful, illustrious sons of Lord Ramchandra, came and touched his lotus feet and he taught them. And they immediately grasped all the 24,000 verses and were adept in singing the beautiful epic of Ramayana in front of all the villagers, city men, and city folks in and around the Kosala kingdom, in and around the Ayodhya kingdom. Being noticed that they are great singers, many people gave them gifts, and one of the primordial gifts was, let this be heard by the person whom for this entire epic has been compiled, written, and now being renditioned. They got the august assembly of Lord Ramchandra himself in Ayodhya. Everybody was invited for 32 days, morning, afternoon, and evening, and then they began the most wonderful recitation of Ramayana in amidst Lord Ramchandra, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna, and everybody else. So yesterday we saw that how the story of Rishyashringa, the great sage who came from the Angadesha, from Rompada's son-in-law and also Dasharatha's son-in-law. Yesterday we also saw that Rama was not the first son of Dasharatha. In fact, Dasharatha first had a daughter called as Shanta, who was given in adoption to Romapada. And yesterday, Pushpa Mukhi Sachi Mataji also said very, very wonderfully that how the same Gotra marriages actually should not be done, and she was deformed, and by giving in adoption, due to the love and care of Rompada and Varshni, who is the elder sister of Kausalya, she became all right. So today we continue further. We also saw yesterday the beautiful example of how in the Putra Kameshri Yajna, which was a supplementary Yajna to Ashwamedha Yajna, the Yajna Purusha actually came and he gave in a golden pot covered with a silver lid, which is to make the payasam inside is very lukewarm. He wanted to give it to the 4 wives. So let me start to the 3 wives. In fact, he had 354, 345 or 350 wives. Valmiki does not talk about Dasharatha's other 347 wives. He principally talks about the 3 wives, who is Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikai. So just to test your memory, for those who have been listening to this lecture clearly, we'll start off. How much percentage of the payasam did Kausalya get right at the start?
50%.
50% says Parakrami Parth Prabhu. Any other answers?
50%.
50%. 50%. Perfect. The answer is correct. 50% of the payasam was provided back to Kaushalya. How much percentage of payasam was given by Sumitra? Was given to Sumitra?
35%. 35.
35. So that means she got 25 plus 12.5. 25 plus 12.5 becomes 37.5.
Oh,
So in
sorry.
fact, she got 37.5%. And that last person, Kaikei, so what was remaining was
12.5.
actually 12.5% she got. So now the second set of questions come in. Who was the first person to drink the payasam?
Kaushalya.
Kausalya was the first person to drink. Okay. Who was the second person to drink the payasam? Kaikei. Absolutely right. And who was the son born to Kaikei?
Bharat.
Bharat. Absolutely right. And she got 37.5% Sumitra, and the sons born for Sumitra were,
Shatrughna and Lakshman.
Shatrughna and Lakshmana.
and both were twins. Absolutely right. You guys are all listening with eagle sharp eyes, looking at me and also noting it down. Thank you very much for these answers. So everybody has got the division right. In fact, if you go to Quora and ask this question, so many people have written so many nonsenses, but this is actually given in Valmiki Shastra in a very simpler format, and the acharyas explain it so. So it's very great that you are all remembering this. I'm very, very grateful for the same. So now Valmiki is actually going deep, and he has taught to the Lava and Kusha, the wonderful sons. The afternoon has commenced. Ramchandra is adeptly listening to these pastimes, and then from there they continue the story. In fact, they continue the story to say that on the wonderful day, after around say 9 to 12 months after consuming the payasam, naturally the wives got pregnant. That means biologically they undertook the copulation and they got pregnant. It's not that they drank the payasam and the next day they got pregnant. That's not how it is, because modern scientific way, many people have this question. Valmiki says that in the due course of time, due to natural ways of methods, they got pregnant. And once they got pregnant, the Kausalya Mata gave rise to Lord Ramchandra. He was the most beautiful. And at the same point of time, all the second was Kaikeyi giving rise to Bharata, and Sumitra gave birth to Lakshmana and Shatrughna. So their names, we know them as such, but their names were given by Vashishta. In fact, Vashishta is the great sage who was there as one of the sages. We heard the 9 sages and their names in Ayodhya. Vashishta came around and he gave these names to each one of them. Now, when he gave these names, he also gave the meanings of the names. Now, this is very important. Back back in the days, 20, 30 years ago, our parents have kept our name with particular meaning. Nowadays, people keep name of their babies joining the first 2 letter of the husband, joining the second 2 letter of the wife, and they keep the name. Though this is nice, you can call it and you can find the so-called unique name, which is a craze nowadays to find a unique name. But actually, the cultural system and the Indian ethos actually believes in giving the names of the babies are the names of the deities, and not that the names are given just like that. The names are given after observing the character of the person, after observing the character of the baby when the name giving ceremony is there. If somebody is called Bhima, he has to be a little bit takatwar, he has to be a little bit more stronger. Not that somebody who is very lean and who is very anorexic can be given the name Bhima. So there are certain names that you should give while looking at the character and looking at the zodiac and astrology. Many people today have a have a crazy kind of following towards astrology. In fact, I know many families, they every day very religiously switch on the channels and they watch what is there for me today, which stone I should wear, by which what will happen, and all these crazy predictions of astrologies are going on day and day basis. However, the Shastras say generally, if you want to want to really look at astrology, you should look at it 3 times. One, when you are born, your kundali should be mapped and the astrology should be kept. Then, for auspicious event or inauspicious event of doing certain things, or which is proper, you should look at astrology. At later point of time, you should keep it in your almara itself. When you want to take uh, upanayanam, or when you want to actually get married, those are the times that you should take this astrology. There are only 2 or 3 times that you should look at astrology, because astrology is based on your karma, and once you are born, you are doing to change your karma by your activities that you do in this life. So we should focus more on changing the activities rather than looking at past life. What is the desire I had? Oh, I wanted to eat an ice cream, so I couldn't get an ice cream while I was going to die, so I got a birth as an ice cream owner's son. Is might sometimes the worry that we have at the last breath, and we might get our new life based on it. So we should be very careful of what we desire, of what we want to do at the end life, at the last breath, because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that what you remember at the last breath, that is what you will get as the next life. So if you are at the last breath thinking that it is President Trump, maybe you will become President Trump the next time, or you might be becoming the United States of America's president. Though I'm saying it wittingly, but it is actually the right science behind this. There is an entire science behind this particular aspect. So what we have to actually see is that we should give the name of the babies which are connected to the Lord, because every time we call our sons and daughters by the name, like Lakshmi, like Parvati, like Amba, like Shiva, like Rama, like Krishna, like Gopala Krishna, like that, how we, when we call, every time we call the name, our karmas reduce, because we are taking the holy names of the Lord. And because our karmas reduce, we are also giving the person who is hearing it good amount of vibes. So we should keep the names of the Lord and keep the names given in the Shastras, rather than having this unique craving for keeping a very unique name that nobody else has kept. Now, this is not possible. There are 7 billion people in the planet. Somebody would have kept the name that you have thought of. And rather than meeting the disappointment later, it is always better to keep a nice name. So Vashishta knew all this, and he came back and he kept the name of each of the baby very carefully. The first name that he kept of Kausalya's son was Rama. As per Shastra, it is called Ramayati iti Ramaha. Ramayati means one who gives pleasure to the eyes. That person is called as Rama. None other than Krishna himself. That's why in the Maha Mantra we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna means all attractive, and Rama means also all attractive, because Ramayati iti Ramaha. The second person's name was actually Bharata. Now, why is he called Bharata? And I gave you a small glimpse of this name, why his name came as Bharata. There are two reasons why Bharata's name was Bharata. Because one, he was the one who was supposed to rule the kingdom in the absence of the Lord. And it was a great burden in itself. When the able king was not there, he has to rule the kingdom. So he was the one who was in Sanskrit or in Malayalam or in many other South Indian languages, they say this as Barikiga. Barikiga means he actually one who was undertaking the kingdom, or was involved in ruling the kingdom while in the absence of the absence of the Lord. That's one common reason which is given. And the other reason which is actually seen and the acharyas mention is because he was the personality whom everybody thought was a most unscrupulous person. In fact, he was the most devoted to Lord Ramchandra. He could give his life for Lord Ramchandra. But everybody around him thought that he was the real reason why Ramchandra is going to leave for the forest. In fact, it is his desire of becoming the king, due to which Lord Ramchandra is going to leave us. So everybody thought in the future, when we are going to discuss that pastime, everybody thought that Bharata is the reason, though actually he was not. So when somebody accuses us of a mistake, that which we are not committed, that's why even in the court systems we actually have a idol there, and they say that justice should be always followed. No innocent person. It doesn't matter if how many times we will have to reopen the case and hear the case, but justice has to be given, so that no innocent person should be harmed. So why that rule even today in high courts and supreme courts we are following? The reason is because the innocent person should not be harmed. Innocent person should not be given the false blame. But if you look at Shastras, Bharata was the most innocent. He actually did not even desire for the kingdom. But everybody thought that he is the one who is actually the real reason, and everybody started throwing stones on him when he came into the Ayodhya streets. People even looked at his face and started saying that I don't want to look at your face anymore. When he came before his father thought that he was the real person behind which, who actually told Kaikai to tell this boon. When he fell at Mother Kausalya's feet, Kausalya said, are you going to send me also to the forest? Such were the harshest words used on a person who never did any mistake. So Vashishta knew this, that this person will be carrying the burden of false accusations on himself, but still he will not give a reply back, but he will continue to serve Lord Ramchandra and Lord Ramchandra's feet. So Bharaha, he was carrying on his head the great burden of false accusations, even though he was not accused, he was not committing any mistake. Hence his name became Bharata. Then came Lakshmana. Lakshmana was also known. Lakshmi iti sampanno Lakshmanaha. It's not that he was having a lot of money. He always had the servile attitude towards Lord Ramchandra. If Ramchandra wants to go and sit, he will be the first person to pick up a peacock fan and will start fanning Lord Ramchandra. If he wants to pick up a bow, his brother Lakshmana will be the first one to run and pick up the bow, put it a string, and give it to his elder brother. Lakshmana was none other than Anant Shesh, or the serpent figure on which Lord Vishnu resides. He was Ananta, and he was always ready to always protect and serve Lord Ramchandra. So Lakshmi iti sampanno, here Lakshmi does not mean the money. Here the real money in our life is actually serving the Lord and their devotees. That is the real wealth that a person has. A great story of Alexander we all know. Alexander came all the way from Macedonia, and he came up to Hydaspes river in India, and he crossed the river and he went into the Porus, where Porus defeated him. In fact, Porus also got defeated a little bit because of treachery. And we know that Alexander had to be carried back. And there is a famous story, though it is fictitious, it is not actually verified. But at the same time, the story becomes very important, that Alexander actually wrote in his will that when you carry me on my grave, towards my grave, ensure that my hands are outside, and my grave, my stretcher towards the grave should be carried by doctors, and all the wealth that I have conquered on the way towards India, up to India, whatever I have conquered from Macedonia up to India, all those wealth should be thrown on the streets. So what he actually wanted to say is that when you go, let everybody know that even though I am Alexander the Great, I am not carrying anything away. I am not carrying anything back with me when I am going away or when I am dying. My hands were empty when I came. My hands are empty when I go. And the best of the doctors I could employ, but they are not the ones who are going to save me. In fact, look at the situation that we are here today. The lockdown is outside, we are locked inside. The best of the doctors are trying, the whole world is trying for a medicine, and we can only pray that they come out with a medicine very soon. So sometimes the best of the doctors and the best of the strengths and best of the ability that we thought that will save us, it does not save. Look at the insurance companies. All of them give us insurances. Nobody gives us assurances. And assurances are what we need at this hour. Insurance never had a scheme of events called as COVID-19, and many people who got those insurances may not be or may be covered by it. So there are different ways of assurances that one seeks by. He said that the doctors could not save me. My hands did not have money when I actually went away, and all the wealth could not save me. That is why I'm throwing the wealth on my way to the grave. Similarly, so from here we get to know the only thing that he carried was he was a great general, and his name was always famous in the three A's when they take in the somebody is sharing a content. Can somebody not share a content? Okay. So what happens is that when you actually make this effort of understanding the fact that we are actually not looking at the wealth aspect of it, the real wealth that we have is none other than the wealth of the holy names that we carry. So Lakshmi iti Lakshmi sampanno, that is Lakshmana, the servile attitude is the real wealth that he has. Then comes Shatrughna. Now you will not believe, Vashishta took a long time before actually naming the child Shatrughna. Now everybody, even if you today go and Google on this thing, put as Shatrughna, Many times, most of the Google statements will not talk about the real Shatrughna of Ramayana. In fact, it will talk about the actor Shatrughna Sinha. It is very difficult. You have to type Shatrughna of Ramayana. Even in Google, he is actually not seen as one of the most popular search keywords. The reason is his character was like that. He was always used to keep a low profile, but he was a very effective leader. He used to always keep a low profile, and his profile was very, very simple. His job description was very, very simple. While Lakshmana's job description was to always serve Lord Ramchandra, the job description of Shatrughna was to serve the person who is serving Lord Ramchandra. In fact, he was the person who was responsible to serve Bharat. He never knew where was Lord Ramchandra, what he was doing. He will always know what Bharata needs and what needs to be used to serve him. He was ready for doing Bhagavata Sarva. Bhagavata means devotee. He was ready to do Bhagavata Seva rather than Bhagavat Seva. Bhagavat is actually the Lord Himself. Bhagavat is one who follows Bhagavat, who is none other than the devotee himself. So Shatrugno, Nitya Shatrugno. Now this is what the meaning Vashishta gives, and let us look at little deeply why Shatrugna is called as Shatrugna. The first superficial meaning of Shatrugna, Nitya Shatrugno is that at the outside, he had such a pleasant character, nobody was his enemy. He was Ajata Shatru. He never had any enemies because his character was so wonderful. Nobody will come up to him and say, I do not like you, I am jealous of you, I would like to start a fight with you. These things will be never said by the person. So he was always amicable to Shatrughna, was always amicable. Shatrughna was always nice to people. So he used to be Shatrughna, Nitya Shatrughna. So he used to be never have any Shatrus. But at the same time, Vashishta says if you look inside into the heart, you will find out that he actually had been victorious of the Shatrus. What are the inside Shatrus that we have? What are the inside enemies that we have? The inside enemies are Kam, Krodh, Moh, Lobh, Matsarya. Pride, anger, jealousiness, passion, lust, greed, envy. These are the real enemies that we have in the heart. It's not important that we win over people on the outside. It is important that we win over these particular things. Anger is everybody's companion. Greed is everybody's companion. Lust is everybody's companion. And all these anger, greed, lust, and all of these things causes lot of enemies. They are the real burglars who actually steal away the wonderful qualities of ours. So he was the person who actually won not only on the outside, but from the inside also. He was the person who won over anger, greed, lust, envy, passion, all of these qualities. So Shatrughno, Nitya Shatrughno, he was Nitya, not that one day he conquered it, he always conquered it. Now there is a second deeper meaning to this. This is again, as I said, is on the superficial level. The second deeper meaning is, and please hear me very carefully, do not go after this class and said Haridas Varya Prabhu said this particular example. Hear me very, very carefully. The second meaning what acharyas give is he is having actually only one enemy, and he always ensures he is victorious over that enemy. Now you might ask, who is that enemy? And he says the enemy is Lord Ramchandra. Now you will all be wondering, why am I saying Shatrughna's enemy is Lord Ramchandra? How is it even possible? In fact, the acharyas explain that while doing the service for a devotee, what is the greatest impediment is service for the Lord. In fact, we'll see this pastime as it comes, but look at this concept very clearly. Bharata, he was only involved in serving Lord Ramchandra, and his interest was to serve Bharata. At that point of time, if somebody said, please do a service for the Lord, then for the service of the devotee, the service of the Lord becomes an impediment or an enemy. So, in fact, it is a superlative way of saying a particular simile by which he's saying For Shatrugno, Nitya Shatrugno. That means even if Lord Ramchandra passes in front of him, it's not that he won't obey, but he will actually go behind Bharata only. He was that much dedicated towards a Bhagavata service rather than a Bhagwan's service. So Nat Shatrugno, Nitya Shatrugno, Lakshmi iti Sampanno, Lakshmanaha, Bharaha iti Bharata, and Ramayati iti Ramaha. Four wonderful boys were born, and these boys were very adept in their activities. Valmiki immediately mentions in the Puranas, in the Itihasa called Ramayana, that these boys immediately started growing up. And Lord Ramchandra every day, along with his brothers, used to go to Ranganath. Now, the Ranganath, most of us in Cheetah Camp, we went right now couple of months back when the lockdown was not there. We had beautiful darshan of Kumbakonam and Sri Ranganath in Sri Rangam. Sri Rangam in Trichurapalli, near the banks of the river Kaveri and Kovidam. These two, Kolidam River and Kaveri, these two rivers are flowing, and in between that there is a small piece of tract of land where Sri Ranganath's temple is there, Trichurapalli is there, Sri Rangam is there. We all saw this at this particular point. I see a hand raised. So is there a reason, Parakrami Path Prabhu? Is there a
Yes,
question?
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to ask here.
Yes.
Prabhuji, was there a reason that Vasishtha Muni named Lord Ram as Lord Ram, or it was just already decided?
No, he was Ramaiti iti Ramaha. The minute he was born, everybody was very happy and everybody were attracted to him. The reason is the Lord is all attractive, and that is the reason why he gave him as Rama. And he was in his future life, wherever he goes, be it Asura or be it demigods, be it even Ravana got attracted, saying that this boy is very beautiful. Whenever he hits an arrow, I feel that he's a worthy of my combat. So he had this ability to even attract the Asuras and enemies. So looking at that quality, he named Lord Ramchandra as Rama. Ramayati
Got
iti
it.
Ramaha.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. So that is the reason why all these four boys were living, and they always used to go and worship Sri Ranganath. And when they were worshipping Sri Ranganath, there is a pastime which is mentioned. All those people who amongst this midst who are actually here, who went to Sri Rangam, do you know in which direction is Ranganath looking and sleeping? Anybody can answer. Those who went to Sri Rangam should be able to answer this question.
South direction towards Sri Lanka.
He is looking at south direction towards Sri Lanka. Very correct, Vishal Prabhu. That's an actually the correct answer. So generally the lordships look at either the east direction, or in some cases in Kumbakonam where we saw he was looking at the west direction. Very, very rarely somebody will actually see that the Lord is facing the south direction. So let us see a small history of how the Lord started facing the south direction. In fact, first it is said that this Lord of Ranganath, he was not called as Ranganath, he was called as Sriman Narayan himself, the Mahavishnu himself, and he was not in Trichy Sri Rangam. That is where we see him today. Previously, he was the presiding deity of Ayodhya. He was there in Kosala kingdom, and he was being worshipped by the Ishwaku Vamsha. He was worshipped by Dasharatha, Aja, Mandatha, Kusa, and so many different Kakusta, and so many different kings which came in the lineage. Now, there is a history which is spoken by Valmiki where he is saying that how this deity of Sri Rangam came to Sri Rangam. This is very important. What happened was, actually this deity was not there in Ayodhya also. This deity was there in Bhu, Bhua, Suva, Mahajana, Tapa, Satyam. Satyam is where Lord Brahma stays. Lord Brahma's one of the deities of worshipping in his altar was Ranganath. And he used to worship him daily, and he used to worship him very beautifully. And at that point of time, there was a king called as Ishwaku who could actually travel the 14 planetary systems. And when he actually traveled, sometimes he will go to Brahmaloka and come back. And once he went to Brahmaloka, to the Satyaloka, and he saw these deities, and he said, look, you have so many deities to worship. Why don't you give me this particular deity? Now Brahma was thinking that so many people give so many danas, but they never give their worshipping deity as a donation or as a dana. But Lord Brahma knew that Lord Ramchandra has to come in this lineage, and Ranganath will be actually very nicely worshipped. So he gave the Narayan deity to Ishwaku. Ishwaku now got the deity, but he has to bring the entire temple and the temple precincts. The temple's Viman was called as Pranavakara Viman, which you might have seen the current temple Gopur, which is so gigantic that everybody loves. It's one of the largest Gopurams in the world, the largest Shikha or the Gopur of the temple. So he had to bring that. So in fact, Garuda took on his back the entire Sri Rangam temple along with the Pranavakar Viman, and it came down to Ayodhya. That's why even in the Ranganath temple today, when you, if you remember, if you go outside and see the Garuda himself will be 25 feet long, because he himself was present there, and on his back the entire temple was carried from Satyaloka. So that came to Ayodhya, and in Ayodhya he was actually established, and he was worshipping him very nicely. So Ishwaku used to worship him, Aja used to worship him, Anshuman used to worship him, Sagara used to worship him, Kakustha used to worship him, Mandatha used to worship him, and finally it came to Dasharatha, who was also worshipping him daily. Now, what happened? Valmiki gives a glimpse that one day when Mother Lakshmi and Narayan both were sitting in Vaikunta, and they were about to speak to each other when Lakshmi said, "How do you find the worship of your Narayan deity going on in the Ishwaku Vamsha?" And Vishnu says, "I think nobody is worshipping me properly. In fact, I have got so much kirti, I have got so much wonderful qualities, but I think the worship is not going that well." Now, if you look at it, the Lord is saying that he doesn't feel that people are worshipping him properly. Now, this is worshipped by Ishwaku, Dasharatha, and everybody. So, Lakshmi says, "Look, if you are so peculiar that you should be worshipped properly, the only person who can worship you properly will be you himself, you yourself. So, why don't you worship yourself?" Now, this is in a very humorously way, it is being said that if in the first initial stage of the marriages, if you actually ask the wife that can you make this, she might even make. After 5 years, if you ask a wife can you make this, she'll say this is what I can do, in fact not more than this. After 10 years, if you ask a wife can you do this, she will say you better go inside and you cook yourself. Because how much time will a person keep on satisfying your desires? If your desire is very particular, fine tuned up to a limit, only that person has to cook for himself and get to know. So similarly, Lakshmi also said this to Lord Vishnu, that if you want to worship yourself, you are the only person who is adept in doing that. So why don't you go yourself and worship? At that was the time, that was the particular time when in one year when Lakshmi said it, other year the Brahmas and all the Devatas came and said, why don't you rescue us from Ravana? So putting 2 plus 2 together, Lord wished that okay, let me go and serve Ranganath myself, and he came as Lord Ramchandra. So when he came as Lord Ramchandra, he came down and he was also worshipping Lord Ranganath very nicely. But again, as I said, remember, this was all happening in Ayodhya. How did the Lord come to how did the Lord come to Ranganath or Sri Rangam or Trichurapalli? That is a story which we should also know. After the whole entire yuddha, or all the entire battle and Pattabhishek or the coronation of Lord Ramchandra, when Vibhishana said, I would like to go back, he was giving all wonderful gifts to many people, to all the Vanaras, he was giving gifts, and all Sugriva, he was giving gifts, Jambavan, he was giving gifts, Hanuman, he was giving gifts. And Lord Ramchandra said, this is the person who actually did Sharnagati to me, who surrendered unto me. I should give him a very good gift. And he said, why don't you actually take these deities of Ranganath and take it to Lanka? So Vibhishana felt very happy that if I actually take this, I will be always in close with Lord Ramachandra. So he picked up again Now, this was the deity traveling again. From Satyaloka, he came so many years, he was in Ayodhya. Now, the deity traveled again. But while going, Ramchandra said, look, when Ishwaku got him from Brahma, there used to be a Brahmotsava which used to happen for 10 days in Brahmaloka. So, Brahma told us that if you are keeping him, you have to do a Brahmotsav. You have to do for 10 days, you should do very nice Brahmotsav in Ayodhya. So, while I am saying this Brahmotsavam should happen wherever you take him also. So hearing that, Vibhishan said, okay. He called the Pushpak Viman. Pushpak Viman was utilized by Ravana for all wrong reasons. This was the first reason where Pushpak Viman was being utilized for the best possible purposes. Pushpak Viman had multitude amount of area for the entire temple to be fitted, and he was flying by. And when he was flying, the time of Brahma Murta, of the Brahmotsavam came, and he knew that he could not reach Lanka. So when he could not reach Lanka, he thought that let me place the Lord here near the Kaveri river. The Lord also wished that he could stay there. He placed the Lord there, and at that point of time, he did the 10 wonderful days of Brahmotsava. And the Lord saw that this is a place where there is no temple, no particular area of worship. Maybe this area is very nice. At that point of time, when he wanted to lift the Lord again, there came a king of that region and said, why don't you keep the Lord himself here? Vibhishana said, no way. Lord Ramchandra has given me this particular deity for me to always be in rendition and serve him. So I am not going to come. When he actually said that, the Lord Ramchandra, that I will never leave his side and I will be always by his side, then the king said that, why should you and I decide? Let us ask the Lord himself what is his desire. They both went to Ranganath and they asked him, what is your desire? He said, my desire is to be here till the end of Kali Yuga, giving darshan to everyone. So that is why Sri Ranganath is actually staying. But he wanted to give Vibhishan also his darshan. So he turned himself and put his lotus feet towards the south, and he is constantly giving darshan to Vibhishan, and he is always blessing Vibhishan and the Lanka Vasis. So Sri Rangam is one of the popular places that Lord Ramchandra was hearing and worshipping on a daily basis. And Valmiki says, like that, he started to grow up. You will be amazed to know that this particular incident of Rama from his childhood to him coming to around 12 years of age is covered in minimum 3 to 4 shlokas. This entire episode of up to Rama is born is nearly 18 sargas, 18 chapters. But Valmiki immediately starts to write that like this once the Rama was born, and within some point of time they became 12 years of age. It is very astonishing to see the Bala Kanda, the youth, the young age of Lord Ramchandra is very, very, um, uh, it's mentioned with very few verses. It's not mentioned in great detail. At the same time, imagine you shift to Krishna Avatara. If you shift to Srimad Bhagavatam, there is an entire canto. In fact, his every age, there are millions of pastimes that he did. In Braja, he did so many different pastimes. So this is the stark difference of the two avatars. And he says that Lord Ramchandra learnt in Gurukul very nicely, learnt from Vashishta how to hit the arrows and other things. He was very good in armors, he was good in valor, and he was doing very wonderfully for himself. At that given point of time, the screen, the camera actually shifts back to Dasharatha. Dasharatha was very happy that he saw that his children are growing very nicely, but immediately Valmiki now puts him on the second stage and he says, Dasharatha got into a tension. Now, what is the tension? Till now, he was having a tension that Lord Ramchandra will actually be, whether he will be born or not. But here he is right now having a tension that who will marry Lord Ramchandra. Now, what is the age that at which the father is taking tension? At the age of 12. Now that was Treta Yuga. So nowadays, people are having the opposite tension, that even though they are of age, when will they marry? So that is a new tension that the parents are having. But nevertheless, at the age of 12, Lord Ramchandra's marriage was thought of, and when he was thinking, at that time the messenger of the court came and he knocked on the door and he said, Maharaj Dasharatha ki jai ho, there is a message that I am actually bringing for you. And Dasharatha was like, okay, what is the message that you have brought me? He said, the great sage who was a Raja Rishi, who was a kingly sage, but now has become Brahma Rishi, one who has attained the Brahman knowledge, also that Rishi has come. And everybody knew the only person who turned from Raja Rishi to Brahma Rishi was none other than Sage Vishwamitra. And he was known, his retinue, his CV, his curricular vitae was known everywhere throughout the world, that how great as a personality, as a sage he was. Dasharatha was supremely happy. He got a wonderful plate with a Purna Kumbha. He actually received Sage Vishwamitra at the doorsteps. In fact, he gave him the throne. He made him sit on the throne, and he was sitting at a minister's throne. And Dasharatha said, why, what is a good fortune that I have that you have come here? Now, Valmiki mentions how did Dasharatha feel. Now, you might be thinking, why am I saying in detail all these things? But these are very intricate pastimes and esoteric pastimes which are there in Ramayana that we should know. It is said that first Valmiki writes, Dasharatha felt as if in a kingdom when there is no rain, there was copious amount of rain which was actually falling down. There was plenty of rain which was falling down after a long time. And he stopped there. Then he thought, Ayodhya never had a problem of rain. There was always rain because Lord Ramchandra was present. So this example does not fit good for this scenario. Then he wrote, for a person who did not have wealth for a long time, if he gets wealth, how was it he felt like that? Again, he thought, Dasharatha had the best of the riches and he was the king. So even this wealth example doesn't make sense. So the third time Valmiki writes, actually seeing Sage Vishwamitra, he actually felt happiness just like a person after trying many times for a son gets a son. Now this example fits the bill because this is what Dasharatha was suffering from. For a long time he wanted a proper son to be born to him, and here he got a son. And that is the happiness that was there in the mood of Dasharatha. And Dasharatha was very happy to see Sage Vishwamitra, and he said, oh sage, you have come at the right time, and because of you everything is proper, everything is shubham in this country, and everything will be shubham going forward. So tell me, how can I help you, and how can I actually serve you? And whatever you require, I am ready to give you. Now, the last words that he actually said was the most important that Vishwamitra caught. He said, whatever you are ready to you give, whatever you are ready to ask, I am ready to give. This is what Dasharatha said. And when he said, Vishwamitra said a very beautiful line in Valmiki Ramayana. He said, I am doing a great yajna near Siddhashrama, which is the place where I am. And at that ashrama, I am doing a yajna for 7 days, 7 nights. And hence, to protect that, there are a lot of asuras who are coming and destroying that yajna every time I try. And to protect that, I need a specific person. And he gave the details of the person in Sanskrit. He says, Kaka Paksha Dharam Viram Dhatumiti Arhasi Narashardula. He said, the tiger amongst men, and who is having a hair which is falling on top of his forehead. Kaka Paksha Dharam Viram. If you look at this hair, I do not have it. Lord Ramchandra had much better hair. So it was falling in a curly way on top of his forehead. In fact, I remember once I went to a barber shop and I told him, can you actually give a different cut to my hair? It should look nice on YouTube. It should look very nicely. Barber said, okay, fine, I will cut your hair. And he was cutting everywhere. And suddenly he said, okay, Prabhu, can I cut this hair which is falling on your forehead? It is not looking nice. I said, yeah, cut it. It's just one tuft of hair. Who will look at it? And he cut that hair. And I came home and I was feeling very happy. I gave 200 rupees to him, saying that, and kept a 50 rupees tip for him that you cut my hair very nicely. When I came home, And I was reading Ramayana. Here was this verse which says Kaka Paksha Dharam Viram. Actually, Rama was most beautiful because on top of his forehead, this particular tuft of hair was falling in a curly way on his forehead. And because of that, any person who is having a curly hair falling on his forehead near this temple is actually very beautiful to look. And then I looked at myself in the mirror. I was looking like the greatest fool who went and told the barber to cut that hair which I had. So from there, we should be very careful. Even before going to the barber, we should learn Valmiki and what is the style that Ramchandra was following. We should actually take a notice of it. So Dasharatha was very certain till the point, while certain till the point Vishwamitra actually said, "I need your son." So he said, "Okay, son means maybe he has, he can send some Bharat or somebody like that." Also, he thought about, because Rama was very close to him. But the minute he said, Kaka Paksha Dharam Viram, Dhatum Darhum Ichchasi, please give him, and I am interested only in that boy who has a Kaka Paksham. Kaka Paksham is also called as a small Shikha. At the age of 12, the hair did not grow that much. So Kausalya Mata had actually pulled the hair very nicely and put a rubber band, and because it was a rubber band, there was only a small shikha on top of Lord Ramchandra's head. So he was also mentioning that the person with the shortest shikha, with a pulled up shikha by Kausalya, who was given a rubber band, that particular boy I need. The minute he said that I need Lord Ramchandra, Dasharatha was stunned. He never thought that Vishwamitra will come and ask his own son, the most important son that he would like to always keep next to him. And he was very worried. He said, he started defending himself. He fell unconscious for one muhurta, and then he got up. And when Vashishta sprinkled, Dasharatha started giving all the defenses of why he cannot give Lord Ramchandra. In fact, he cannot say no, because if the sage goes unhappy because he has promised to a sannyasi, and if he actually gives a wrong word to the sage, then all the auspiciousness of the kingdom will go away. So he was very worried that what should I do, and he started giving his defense. Now look at the wonderful defenses that Valmiki actually keeps. The first defense Dasharatha said is that looks like Parashurama, looks like Vishwamitra, you have come to the wrong address. You know, you took the Ayodhya cross street correctly. You went to the Ayodhya main street correctly, but instead of taking a left towards a different place, I think you took a right and came into my place. And Vishwamitra was thinking, why is he saying that I have taken a wrong address? Now, sometimes like this, it happens. When we are cooking inside the kitchen, very nicely, we are about to put the milk into the kheer and the sugar into the kheer, and the kheer is about to boil. At that time, somebody will come and hit the bell, and we have to reduce the gas, close the gas, we have to adjust everything, and we have to run outside and open the door and ask, yes. And he said, this is Mr. Sharma's house, and that might be Mr. Trivedi's house. After doing all this, the person who was coming to that address came to the wrong address. And he says, and you say, no, this is Mr. Trivedi's house, this is not Mr. Sharma's house. And he says, oh, I was looking for this particular address. And you say, this is not here, this is 101. You have to go to 201, which is on the top floor. Now he says, oh, I'm sorry. Now, but what is the use of that sorry? You should have seen this before hitting the bell. My kheer has gone wasted. So like this, we might feel. So like this, Dasharatha is saying to Vishwamitra that what is the use? Maybe you have come to the wrong address. Vishwamitra is saying, what do you mean? He's saying, actually, maybe you're looking for the real Kshatriya who wants to fight a battle. His name is Parashurama. He's not this Rama. Maybe you are interested in looking at Parashurama, and Parashurama does not stay here. He stays little southern wise towards Vindhyachal mountains. Maybe you should have gone there, but maybe unknowingly Rama, maybe the names are same, so you entered into Ayodhya. This is the first defense he's giving. Vishwamitra never even bothers to answer that. Second reason he is giving is that, look, my Ramachandra is actually like Rajiva Lochanaha. Now, you might be imagining why Valmiki all of the sudden is actually describing Lord Ramchandra as Rajiva Lochanaha. Rajiva Lochana means one who is having lotus eyes, or one who is just like a lotus bud. What he is trying to tell is that my son Lord Ramchandra is just like a lotus. What happens to the lotus? The lotus actually blooms very early in the morning at 4:35 a.m., sometimes 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m. At the first morning light, the lotus will bloom. And when the sunlight goes away, the lotus will start to shrink itself and it will not bloom at all. At 5:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m., it will start to not to bloom. It will go back to its original bud shape. So he is trying to say that my son is Rajiva Lochana. He is actually like a lotus. He will wake up early in the morning and before 5:30 p.m. he will go to bed. He will not stay back like in our Cheetah camp, watch Netflix, Hotstar, Prime Star, all these things he will not at all see. He will go back immediately to his sleep and he will not be available for any nightly activities. And what you want is to battle asuras who will actually come at midnight, because only people who walk in the midnight and who stay awake in the midnight are asuras. And you actually want to fight with asuras, and my boy sleeps at around say 4:30 p.m. How is this possible? So you have come to the wrong address. Second time he puts his defense that you are cannot actually come and ask my son. The third thing he says is actually my Rama, and he again and again refers and he touches his heart and saying, my Rama you want, no, that is not right. My Rama you want him right now, I don't think so it is right. He doesn't say no, but he again and again uses the word mama, mama Raghavaha, mama Ramaha. That means he is mine. Now look at this clever interplay of words what Dasharatha is giving. In fact, in the Vedic science, whatever we do in the yajna, we always say idam na mama. We actually give yajna patra saying that this is not done by me, but I am actually executing your service. So even there, we actually have this servital attitude of we are not doing the activity. In fact, it's the Lord who is desiring to do the activity. So there also we are saying idam na mama. I am not the one who is doing this activity. But here Dasharatha is saying mama, mama, mama. Suppose you went to somebody's house and you actually asked for a donation. And when they were actually wanted to give you a cup in donation, while giving the cup, if they are holding it very tightly and they are not giving it back to you, you will feel that maybe they don't want to give. So the real reason is if you hold back something tightly and saying this is mine and I don't want to give, the donation cannot be given in the right attitude. It will be in the mode of passion or ignorance. So here Dasharatha is actually saying Mama Raghavaham, he is mine, he is mine, he is mine. So the sannyasi actually gets to know he's too attached. Maybe he doesn't want to give. That's why he's again and again reminding me he is not yours, he is mine. So this is the third word of Sanskrit that he uses to say he is mine. So there we are. He gives three reasons, and the fourth reason which acharyas give. In fact, there are 5, 6, 7 reasons for this. I will not take much time because we are already hit the time. So we'll be concluding this with this. So he said that the fourth reason is my boy is just 16 years. He's not even 16 years old. Now Vishwamitra got his entire calculations wrong. You are saying, I know that your boy is 12 years old because Valmiki just wrote that it is 12 years old, and I know he is 12 years old. Why is this person suddenly calling it as 16 years old? What is the reason behind it? The real reason behind it is that only 16-year-olds will actually become the age of Kshatriyas to go into the battle. So he's saying, if you are mistaken that my boy is actually 16 years old, he has not even attained 16, he is just 12 years of age. So I can't send him to the battle. So this is another reason that Dasharatha puts. Vishwamitra actually gets up from his seat after listening to all these four reasons of no, 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 no in very sweet words, and he just raises his hand and says, Tathastu, be very, very good. Now everybody who will be reading these verses will be feeling that he actually gave such a nice blessing that be very good. But there are two ways when people actually say very good. When you give them something, some people will say very good, thank you very much. When in some other cases, people will say with both their teeth really biting into each other, they will say, very good. That means they are actually cursing you, but telling you good words. Similarly was the case of Vishwamitra. He was biting his teeth and says, Shubhamastu, please be good. And when he actually said, Dasharatha was really frightened. At that time, Vashishta intervened and he said, look, Dasharatha, if you look at this person, Vishwamitra, he and me are worst enemies. If he says right, I will say left. If he says up, I will say down. We don't agree to anything under the sun. In fact, we are the biggest adversaries to each other. If he says go straight, I will say go back. So like this, we never agree. But there is only one thing on which we both agree. Seems like if you give Lord Ramchandra in the hands of Vishwamitra, only Mangala will happen, only auspiciousness will happen. Hence, it is my verdict that you should actually send Lord Ramchandra with Vishwamitra. And this was the suggestion given by Vashishta, and Vashishta gave this beautiful suggestion. Dasharatha called Ramchandra at that very moment with a big copper plate, or sorry, golden plate with all the different paraphernalias. He actually gave Lord Ramchandra to Vishwamitra. And Vishwamitra was about to go. He said, wait a second. Just like 1+1 offer is there, if you get one, you will get one free. That is how we have. If this boy goes, there is one more boy who will come behind him. I cannot stop him. Even if I say he will walk over me, but he will go with this boy. Vishwamitra was fascinated. He said, which is that boy? Lakshmi iti sampanno Lakshmanaha. So if you take this one, you will get one more free. So along with Lord Ramchandra, Lakshmana was also given in donation, and both of them paid their respectful obeisances unto their father. Their father particularly called Ramchandra and said, look, this sage is little angry. Sometimes he might be angry. You please take care, and whatever he says, you obey, and please come back to me very safely. This is a secret message that he gave to Lord Ramchandra. Lord Ramchandra said, my whole existence is to follow your instructions. You have said it once, hence I will not even think it twice. Please remember this. He said, if you actually said it once, I will not even think it twice. This was the promise that Ramchandra gives to Dasharatha. Lakshmana also puts the bow on his back, and both of them resplendent like the sun and the moon, they walk into the streets behind Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra is very happy. Vashishta gives his blessings, and they start their journey towards Siddha Ashram. So this is where we come to an end, where we have talked about the arrival of Vishwamitra into Ayodhya, and now we are slowly going towards Sita Kalyanam, which will happen tomorrow. So what we learned from today is, we learned that we should be welcoming the devotees to our houses. We should be ready to give our words, and we should be ready to part with our most attached element also, not the Lord and their deities, but the fact that here Dasharatha is saying that we should go all way out to actually serve the devotees of the Lord. And we should take good counsel like Vashishta, and we should be always engaged in serving the devotees, hearing their pastimes, chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. मंगलम कौसलेन्द्राय मगनीय गुणाप्तने चक्रवर्ती तनुज्ञाय सर्वगोमाय मंगलम श्रीमते रघुवीराय सेदुल्लज सिंधवे धृतराष्ट्र राजाय रणधीराय मंगलम आसाद्यम नवरेन्द्र दिव्याम अभिषक्ताय सीतायाम राजाधिराजाधिराज रामभद्राय मंगलम. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If anybody has any questions or comments, we can discuss.